Hi everyone, this is a much anticipated update in regards to the UC application's activity sheet entries. Last week I got an email from the UC application updating me that they were going to implement a fix that would allow line breaks and therefore allow you to bullet point your activity sheet entries. This is really important because previously, as this image describes, you were only able to provide a string of details that would group up in one massive block of text because of how big the character allotment was. And the reason why this is important is because you don't want your reader having to struggle to figure out where to go in this massive block of text. You don't want their eyes bouncing back and forth. So with the rollout of this bullet point feature, we're now going to be able to bullet point out all of your activity sheet details just like an actual resume. So that way your reader can quickly just go one fluid line of motion down your activity sheet and get exactly what you have to say in the most concise and fast way possible. And it seems really small, but to the tired eyes of an admissions officer, this will make all the difference in how they digest your information. Now, there are a few caveats. Number one is that when you bullet point, you're going to have to use a dash because there isn't rich text formatting. Now, here's a quick side note. If you go into the UC application and you look into your activities and awards section, you'll notice that the line breaks don't actually take when you put them in, or at least it seems so. But if you edit, then you go down, you'll see that they're there. So what's going on, right? Well, even though they won't show you that they've actually taken in the summary section of your activities and awards, as you can see here, when you actually go down to the review and submit tab, you'll see that the line breaks did take shape and they will represent themselves as bullet points at the end of the day. Now, when you open up your College Zoom Google document, your activities are most likely going to look something like this. You'll have your line 1 information and you'll have your line 2 information. Now, when it comes to the new UC format, it's still pretty much the same. You have your field 1 details, which will be your organization and your position. Some entries will have a description that will ask you to describe the cause of your organization or your employer's company or what the award was about that you won. But keep in mind this description field is really more of an afterthought because as you can see here, you could just type in your own description of what your organization does, like this student did. And you can also include your line 1 details, which just describe the general gist of what your roles or responsibilities are. So literally that would be just this stuff right here that the kid took and put it in here. Now, I do want to say that you want to be careful about loading this up with line 1 details because just because you get 500 characters in this entry doesn't mean you need to blow it out because you don't want the basic stuff to compete for the reader's attention against your wow factors. So, in my opinion, even if the student were just to simply say this, that would totally be okay for the cause description, and that way the emphasis is still going into what actually made them stand out. Now, you could know, again, use your discretion. If you have details that you feel add to your narrative, you can totally put them there. But keep in mind that the description is not supposed to be bullet pointed. Instead, you're only going to bullet point field 2. And when it comes to field 2, you're simply going to take your strongest line 2 wow factors, and then you're going to put them in bullet point form, and that's basically it. The whole thing shouldn't take long at all because you're not doing much cutting or condensing. You're just basically taking the information here, and the length limit of the entries of the UC application now allow you to put most of what you have largely intact. Now, there are a few formatting discrepancies you might run into. For example, first of all, when you open up the application, you'll know that there are 20 entries total for the activity sheet, and those entries could be divided up or categorized under any one of 5 different categories. And the proportion in terms of how many activities you categorize under each category does not even matter. So you have an awards and honors category, you have an educational prep program category, you have an extracurricular category, you have a volunteer and community service category, and you have a work experience category. The work experience one is a little bit odd, but it's pretty much the same information that you already have. So here, line 1 is technically broken down into 3 different fields. You have field 1 where all they want is what your organization was, so there it is. You have a description field for your employer, which again, it's keep it short and sweet. You don't really want to blow that one out because you want to, again, focus more on your line 2 details. And then they have the third one being just what's your position. So as you go through all these different categories, there might be slight little formatting differences, like here, selecting what recognition you got for an award. But none of those are really going to be substantial. And once you look at them, you could pretty much intuitively know what part of your college Zoom activity sheet information goes into that plug and play category. If anything, please let me know if you have any questions. The UC application always looks intimidating, but once you break it open and start adjusting to this new bullet point format, it should come really easy. But again, I'll stand by and I'm here to help if you need me.